Moving right along. So this is part 2 of how I was carjacked, kidnapped, and almost toast. Alright, so where we left off. They tell me if I want to live, I gotta drive. So I drive. Pulling out of the driveway of my apartment building, she grabs my phone, throws it, puts her phone on to the connection in the car, blasts her music, looks over and says, "This is my car now, bitch. Take it. Take the car. Take it. Why take me? Why take my peace?" This is the part of the story. I probably never really know why, but if I were to guess, I'd say that they were trying to get me to a less public place. Like, this is right outside my building. And banking on me, believing this threat. And I did, because in my city, this is happening all the time. It is not uncommon for people to be pew-pewed over like $5 in broad daylight. So, of course, I'm taking this threat seriously. I've got 2 passengers and 0 options, really. We start driving. They're taking me to an even worse side of town. This is where they're from. So this is their stomping grounds. They know all the little nooks and crannies of this part of the city. This probably isn't their first rodeo. But for me, very unfamiliar territory. And they clocked this. They knew this right away because Big Girl told me to go to a certain street, and I was just like, where's that? And she was just like, okay, I got this in the bag. Funny, not funny, less than a week before this, I was driving to the grocery store with my girl Vinny, and she noted that I was still using my GPS to get there, even though I'm a regular at this grocery store. And I go, you know what? I would be fucked if I was kidnapped because I have no sense of direction. I have to do something about 1,000 times to memorize it. I don't really have rote memorization skills. And yeah, so... And I was thinking about that in the car. I was like, wow, this would happen to me. So I don't know where the hell I am. Also, it's important to know that this is a $27,000 car. It's not my car. I have a very cheap car. It's a nice little ride, but it wasn't ready for me yet. I was in between cars. My dad buys and sells cars, so he was letting me drive this for a brief moment in time. It's the nicest thing I've ever driven. And it was actually my last day of driving this car. So that also made me a target, just by the way. So as we're all getting to know each other, I clock that there's this very thick tension between the two. I know they're not a couple. I knew that all along. So I'm kind of sussing out, like, what's the deal here? What's the relationship? I come to find out, at least what I'm told, is that this is Big Guy is Big Girl's estranged father, which makes sense. I could see the resemblance. Seemed like they had recently reunited, and like maybe even that day. So hence the tension. Big Guy is talking all sorts of nasty stuff about me, what he wants to do to me, how I would be safe if I was his bitch, and just shooting his shot. While Big Girl, here's what I think. I think they both had an agenda that day, but I don't think they necessarily had the same agenda. So I think he wanted me. She wanted the car, and it's a conflict of interest, we'll say. So he's like trying to sweet talk me and say stuff, and she's getting more and more furious at this because she doesn't want me to know any information. So she's saying, you want her to die? You want her to die? Like, bitch, stop talking. Don't tell her shit. Because he was like, oh, we have a crazy story to tell you. And I was like, to tell? And she stopped that right away. And she basically said, I was like, you don't have to say anything, totally fine. Let me just talk about myself. And the reason that I wanted to start, you know, I did tell them just random facts and tried to be a little bit talkative, even though she did not like that. She did not like that at all. But I was trying to humanize myself. And so I didn't want to just be this object, this means to an end. I wanted them to know that whatever they do to me, there is a human behind that. So, okay, sorry, quick costume change. I don't have a lot of time. I'm about to go to dinner with my girl. So I'm in the car, father, daughter, lots of tension. We're about to make it to the first stop. We get there, she's getting out, and she tells me if I move one muscle, and she leaves big guy in the back. The whole time, he's continuing to say the weirdest, creepiest stuff, and I'm trying to both understand what's going on outside of the car, but also, you know, maybe get some information from this guy. I don't know. I'm stuck in fear because outside of the car, there's like a couple people, and I'm thinking in my mind, this might be where she, you know, gets rid of me. And, you know, like, the reason I think that didn't happen is because this bitch was so greedy, and she knew she could take me in a fight. Not of the wits, but in a... And so I think that she wanted this gig to herself. So she's outside talking to this group, and then and then big guy is here. I'm trying to pay attention to both things at once. I have ADHD, very hard. Big guy is just, he's still continuing to say disgusting stuff. I'm trying to pivot away from that, but he's not having that. I'm trying to hear what's happening outside. I can't really hear what's happening, but big girl is talking to a younger girl, and again, a lot of tension. I feel like big girl doesn't have a lot of friendly interactions with people, so it seemed like they were fighting, but that maybe there was like a little playful tension there too. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. That's them. But she's dragging her, like, trying to get her to come in the car. So at this point, she was probably like, yo, come with me, and you're going on a little joyride on old Allison's expense. So she gets her into the car, and new girl is all smiles. So now we got a third passenger. I'm told to keep driving. We stop, and then they start sparking up their illegal shit. I'm just sitting there stuck in so much fear. This whole time, it's just, I can't even really describe. Just a very scary moment. I didn't know, well, I mean, I never knew what was going to happen next, but especially at this point, now I'm being forced to do stuff that I don't want to.